Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing this prom makeup look right here. If you want to know how to look like a glowing bronze goddess, then keep on watching. Alright, so first I just did the Murad Skin Perfecting Lotion as my moisturizer, and then I'm going to use some GlossierBalm.com for some moisture toner lips while I get ready. I love this stuff. This came in an Ipsy bag, I think. This came in the FabFitFun box I did. You can watch that video. It's 2 videos back, and this is actually working really well for me. That's another thing. I was going to maybe wait to do this video later on until my skin was like a little bit better, but I thought, you know, like no one's perfect, so like everyone has, you know, imperfections and whatever. I don't care, so whatever. First, for foundation for my base, I'm just going in with the Tarte Amazonian Clay Full Covers Foundation, and this also has SPF 15 in it. This is the shade Ivory, and it's a 12-hour long makeup wear, and it's oil free. And today for my brush, I'm using the Morphe Y6 brush. I love this brush because it's super soft bristles, and it's pretty dense but not too dense. It's like just the right amount of denseness to spread around your foundation really well, so I really have been loving this brush. I like to spread it sections at a time on my face and using my finger to do that, and then I'll take my brush and just start dabbing it around on my face so it gets spread out and there's no streak lines, and that's just how I like to get it all covered. Another thing is this brush doesn't soak up your foundation, which I love that so much. You can use it for a longer period of time without washing it. I'm also not using a beauty blender for this foundation just because it's pretty thick consistency, so I like to use brushes for more thick foundations. For example, I would use a beauty blender or sponge with the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea foundation. That one I love. That one I like to use with a beauty blender just because it's a little more liquidy. I find that if you use a brush, the brush will just really soak up that foundation. That's just a tip. Like more liquidy foundations, you want to use, you know, a sponge or a different kind of brush maybe, but not this kind of thick brush, just because this one is really good with like thicker consistencies of foundation. Especially for things like dances or events or proms and stuff like that, you want to make sure that you take your foundation down your neck, and if you have like an open lower dress, you want to make sure you take it down onto your body just so it matches all of your skin and it kind of just blends in a little bit better. Especially for pictures, it'll be all the same color, so no one will tell a difference in pictures, and it'll just look a lot better. And if you guys don't like foundation all the way down your neck or chest or anything, maybe just find like a powder foundation that works for you, the same color, and that can work as well. For concealer, I'm taking the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Fair Neutral. With this concealer, I'm just going to take this and focus it mainly on the center of my face, so my forehead, under the eyes, center of the nose, cupid's bow, and chin, and then a little bit underneath my contours on my cheeks to really get that definition, and then later on we'll bronze it and contour and make it really defined and really bronzed and really tan. I'm just taking this, the center, down my nose, cupid's bow, and chin. First, I just like to spread it around with my finger to warm it up, and then after that I will take that same brush we used for foundation and blend it in. Just blends it so easily, like you don't have to work that hard to blend it in. I love this brush. I also forgot to mention that I'm sitting in front of my window again, just because, I don't know, I really like the feel. It just like feels more relaxed and gets the natural lighting. If I were doing my makeup for prom, I would definitely be doing it in front of the window for natural lighting, because when you go outside for pictures, if you do it, you know, in darker lighting or bathroom lighting, then when you go outside in the natural lighting, it might look a little different, and you might have not seen a few things and caught your eye on a few things. So I like to sit in front of my window when I do my makeup, like all the time. Right under the contour, pulling the concealer downwards with my finger to warm it up. Don't go upwards because then it'll ruin the effect. And then going in with my brush. Just go ahead and put some concealer under your eyes. And I don't want to take it too far out towards my temples because I want it to be really focused on the center of your face. So really give that snatched look and just make you look more, you know, defined and contoured. Before that settles into my fine lines, I'm going to go ahead and use the e.l.f. Perfect Finishing HD Powder in the shade Clear to set my under eyes, and just a e.l.f. I think this is their, it doesn't say, I think this is their concealer brush, just like a really big fluffy brush. Also, tapping it in really just pushes it into the skin so it really sets into your skin and it like just really combines into one, which is what you want. You don't want it to look like powder sitting on top of your skin. Then I'm gonna go ahead and take that powder and push it into all the areas that I put concealer just to really brighten those areas up. And I'm gonna let this kind of sit on my skin and bake. It's not really baking because there's not a ton of powder on it, but bake until it kind of just really sets in my skin and brightens that area up. I personally get really bad smile lines because I smile really big and they just settle in. I'm gonna go ahead and set that with this clear powder as well. Sorry, I just closed my blinds a little bit more because I realized it was a little bright since I'm also wearing a white shirt. So sorry if I looked like a ghost in the past, you know, however long in this video. Next, I'm taking the e.l.f. finishing powder in the shade Fair Light to set this all over my face. It just looks like this. To set my face, I'm using the Morphe G7 brush. I really love this brush. It's really, really soft like the other one is. Really love it. Lightly tapping all over the places that I did not put the other powder. So I'm gonna go ahead and wipe off that small little bake we had going on. And then taking the Vanity Planet Powder Blush Brush, the biggest fluffy brush in their collection. I'm just gonna take this with that same e.l.f. powder and bring it down my neck. Again, tapping motion so you don't move any foundation around. Next is contouring your face, and you don't have to do this step, but I personally like to do this, you know, on nights out and stuff like that, or events. So I'm just gonna take the Bahama Mama by the brand The Balm. It just looks like this, and it's a really nice, cool toned color. It's a little dark, so I like to take a light hand because I am so pale. I'm going to be taking this on a Luxie 660 Precision Foundation brush. The hollows of your cheeks are right under. You can feel that bone. It's right under there, and it's usually about the middle of your ear. Come down right where the shadow hits, like you can kind of see, kind of hits like right here when you look in the light. So that's exactly where you want to go, and you can always build it up. You don't want to go in too ham at first and then not be able to blend it out. You just want to go really light and build. And then I'm just going to take this around the perimeters of my face and really pay attention to that snatched look in the middle of your face where it's really highlighted. Then just going in with the Vanity Planet Crease Shader Brush. This is going to be for my nose contour, so I'm just going to go right under the nose, the tip of the nose, bring it up, softly up to my eyebrows and connect that. While we're here with this little brush, I'm just going to take that right under my bottom lip. Putting that under your lip gives the illusion that your lip is a little bit bigger. And I also just take it a little bit, whatever's left on the brush, on the sides of my lip too as well. Next, to give a little sheen to that bronze look, we're going to take the Luxie 514 brush. And I like this because it's a little bit longer bristles, so it has a little more wiggle room to really get all the big space on there. So I'm going to take the Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula in the shade Bronzer and the Wet n Wild Ticket to Brazil bronzer. And this one also actually has SPF 15, so that's really good too. These both kind of have a sheen to them. One is a little more, like a little bit more strong, and this one's a little more subtle, but I like to mix these together so it gives that really good color. It's kind of cool and warm at the same time, so that's what I'm looking for. So just putting that kind of over that contour and bringing it up on the cheek area to really give that bronze look and kind of fade it from dark contour to light bronze. Alright, so next I'm taking the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Duo Powder in the shade Auburn, and it just looks like this. So it has a lighter shade and a darker shade, and I just like to go in between each color and mix them as I do my brow. And to do my brows, I'm just going to take the e.l.f. Eyebrow Duo brush. It has a spoolie and a brush at the end. Before I do my brows though, I always like to take a makeup wipe and clean out the foundation or any powder that gets caught up in my eyebrow hairs to really just have a clean slate for the eyebrow powder, because I find that it just looks a little bit more natural and better, and the color stays a little bit better too. I like to start at the tail of my brow, and since I have such thick brows, I find that powder works best for me because I don't need a lot of like coverage or anything. I just need, you know, to fill in the space and just make it match my hair just a little bit more. So that's just me, and I find that it powders just a little bit easier to work with as well. And then once I'm happy with the shape and color of my brows, I'm gonna go ahead and take the Shape Tape concealer that I used earlier and just dot it on the back of my hand just a little bit to carve out my brows. Also, after you carve out your brows, you can bring that concealer down and then prime your eyelids with it. And then to set those in place, I'm using the Cella Eyebrow Defining Gel. This just came in one of my Ipsy bags. It's just what I've been using at the moment, so I just brushed that through. Next, going in with the Tartelette Toasted Palette. I'm taking this shade right here, the lightest shade. It's more to just set those eyelids. Gonna go ahead and use the e.l.f. blending brush. Okay, so before I go into the eyeshadow, I'm going to take some of the e.l.f. clear powder and put it right under my eyes to kind of sit there, and then I'll wipe it away after we do the eyeshadow just so it catches any fallout, so we don't want that to stick on our foundation. I'm also just going over my whole entire face with a damp beauty blender just to blend that powder into the skin. Alright, so I'm using two different palettes today. I'm using the Tartelette Toasted Palette and the Juvia's Place Nubian Palette. So first, for a transition shade, I'm taking the shade Cashmere, this light pinky, you know, orange pop shade right here. Just taking this fluffy brush. I've had it for so long, the name is rubbed off. I just know it's a tapered blending brush, so whatever you got, just use that. Going right in about the crease area and a little bit upwards, starting with windshield wiper motions and then going into circular motions. Next, I'm just going in with the shade, this tan orange shade right here from the Nubian palette. I'm just going a little bit below that first shade we put on, so more right in the crease there. Next, taking the shade Warmth from the Tarte palette, just more this burnt orange type color with a Morphe M441 brush, just more of a tapered brush at the end, so it's a little more precise, and then putting that a little bit lower right in that crease there. The crease is right where it's right underneath where that little bone is in your eye, and then once you have that color placed with the other brush, I'm going with the shade Latte and Warmth and blending those together right in the crease to just furthermore blend it out. Okay, so next I'm just taking this kind of red shade right here and popping that all over my lid with my ring finger. I like to use my finger just because I feel like it warms the shade up and it's just a little easier to apply on the lid than using a brush. If you do want to use a brush, you can always just use like setting spray or Fix Plus or something and pop it on there and do it that way. So as I was putting that on my lid, I realized that's not the shade that I was wanting to use. I was actually wanting to use the shade right next to it, this one, that's more bronzy one. I'm just going to place this shade right over top of it and hope it kind of morphs into what I was looking for. Oh, that's so much better. That's way more the look I was going for. And see, all that fallout is catching by the powder, so we can just wipe it off later and it won't even look like it was there. Going back in with that Morphe M441 brush with the shade Warmth, just softening those edges up a little bit. To soften up even more, I'm taking this orange shade right there with that same brush and just blending out those edges even more. Then just going in with this shade right here to darken those outer corners a little bit with the Vanity Planet crease shader brush that we used earlier for the nose contour, and just placing it right in the corner. Then just going back in with that shade just to make it a little more prominent again since we kind of blended around it. Next is taking this really bright foiled shade right here to highlight the eyebrow bones and the inner corners. Ooh, baby, look at that. Oh, by the way, I'm using a crease brush by IBY Beauty. Taking that fluffy brush from earlier, wiping away that bake and all that fallout. Good as new. Next, for the lower lash, I'm just taking a BH Cosmetics smudging brush and going in with the shade Warmth from the Tarte palette, placing that all under the lower lash line, mainly focusing this on the outer third of your eye. And you also want to make sure that you connect that color to the eyeshadow from the top of the lid. Then just going on with that orange tan shade right there from the Juvia's palette, putting this on the center of the lower lash line. Then just taking that shade Cashmere from the Tarte palette and blending downwards, really getting that smoked out effect. And then going back in and making it a little more defined again with that Warmth and orange shade and mixing those together. And then for the very outer corner of the lower lash, I'm taking the shade Cozy, deepening that up to match the outer corner of the top of the lid. Alright, so next, to finish off the eyes, I'm just going to curl them, put some mascara on, and today I'm going to be using the Ardell lashes, the wispy lashes. Alright, so now that these lashes are on, I ended up using the L'Oreal Voluminous Superstar X Fiber Mascara to coat my lashes. These eyelashes are actually kind of big for my eyes because I do have hooded eyelids, but they're the only ones I had at the moment, so this is what I chose to use today. So to finish off the face, we're going to take the Morphe 9N palette. I think I'm going to go in with these two like middle shades right here on the Luxie 514 brush. Just mixing these together. One is matte and one has a little shine to it, so that's why I chose to do that. Just go ahead and put this on the apples of your cheeks and backwards, blending into that bronzer from earlier. It's a really light hand because this is pretty pigmented stuff. Also just popping whatever is left on the top of my forehead to kind of match that color. Next, for my favorite part of my makeup routine, I'm taking the Masquerade palette by Juvia's Place with the shade Giza, I'm guessing, this really bright shade right here for my highlight. And going in with the Morphe M501 brush and going straight in on my cheekbones. I like to take a little bit and build it up just because I find that works best. And I'm also going to bring this around the temples on my forehead because, you know, you want to be looking like a glowing goddess. Popping this on the chin, on the cupid's bow. Ooh, yes, yes. Going in right on the nose. And last but not least, we're going in for lips. I'm taking the NYX lip liner in the shade Natural, I think. I think it's just Natural. And then taking the Ish palette, the lip palette. This I got in my FabFitFun box. And I'm going in with the shade, the top color on the right here. And I'm going to be using that as a kind of neutral shade. It's so funny because I live in Missouri and it was literally crazy snowing, a bunch of snow, slush, all that kind of stuff. Like, was it yesterday or the day before? And now it's like really sunny outside and like in the 50s or 60s or something. I will never understand Missouri weather. It is so insane. Like, oh my gosh. I'm so ready for warm weather and summer weather. Like, you have no freaking idea. So ready. And I think to just give this look a little more warmth, I'm taking this kind of orangey shade right here in the palette and just plopping that on top of the color we just did. So I ended up not liking those mixed together, so I'm just gonna go straight in with that orangey shade and see how it goes, if it turns out well or not. Ooh, that is bright. Well, that was real bright, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this second lightest shade in there and pop that over top of it and hope it tones it down some. So I ended up not liking that shade either. So I don't think I'm going to use this palette. I think I'm going to go in with Wet n Wild. I think these are their matte lipsticks. They're really cheap shades. Bare It All and Pink Sugar. Pink Sugar. I'm going to mix these together on my lips because I know I like these. So I'm just going to go that way. I love these because they stay on for seriously so long, like the whole day I feel like, and they're super cheap, so I totally recommend these. So now that we have that Bare It All on, I'm just going to take that other shade and pop it in the middle and blend that out with my lips. To finish this look off, I'm just going to take the Wet n Wild Finny Matte Photo Focus Setting Spray and spray that all over my face. And I find that to kind of mesh it all together, I just go in with my beauty blender and kind of push that setting spray into my skin so it blends all together. That is it for this makeup look today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I had a lot of fun doing this makeup look today. I hope you liked it, and I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!